Hello, welcome to the AP7 podcast. You are here with Rachel Donovan and the founder of AP7, Mr. George Helou.
Thanks, Rachel, and thank you for joining us. We love talking about how to get the heart into everything we do to get a lot out of life.
Whether it be relationships, business, careers, you name it. So, let's get started.
Good to be back, Rachel.
It is good to be back, isn't it? How you going, George?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm in a good mood.
I'd like to see you in a bad mood, actually.
Yeah.
Does that happen very often?
No, probably maybe 15% of my life might be bad moods.
Yeah.
Where I'm not happy about something and I've kind of withdrawn and I don't feel like being around people. What about you? What's your percentage? Hangry?
I don't get angry very often, actually. But then it's when I do, I make up for it then. Because in those small times that I'm angry, I'm pretty angry.
Really? Are you like the volcano species where lava just spills everywhere?
It's not a yelling anger. It's a really that slow, controlled anger.
Really? So I need to watch out if you ever have that tone with me.
Yeah, that wasn't even it because I can't do it unless I'm really feeling it. But you know when you're just in your blood.
Rach, I just realised I forgot we were doing a podcast and I'm just now into this conversation with you about moods. Anyway, that's funny, isn't it? But that's good. That's a good sign that we're having a conversation with you, listener, and that's what it's about.
Well, actually, speaking of getting angry, that is often the result of what we're going to be talking about today, which is advice. Advice that, it's very common through friends or feedback at work, anywhere, media, we receive advice from people. Yeah. And we may have asked for it or we may not have asked for it. And often I find a lot of people really struggle to take on advice for different reasons. And, you can either be kind of on one side of the fence where you take on so much advice, you get really overwhelmed and you don't know what to do. Yeah. Or on the other side, you can be maybe quite defiant and don't like being told what to do. And so you kind of do the opposite of what people say just for the sake of it. And it's kind of that idea of a balance of knowing, because advice is good, but how do you discern what's good advice, bad advice, what should I take on? Who you're listening to and moving forward from there.
Yeah. Okay. I obviously like giving advice because obviously that's my profession. But I have to admit, advice is at the mercy of the receiver. And you have to be able to deliver it well so that they feel your genuine, sincere, respectful way of, sharing. So, look, I find that there's so much good advice and there's so much bad advice that we definitely can get lost and find ourselves throwing away good advice or blocking it or feeling pressured to take advice from people just because they're very passionate about their views and we're feeling a little vulnerable and unsure of ourselves. So that then we go down the wrong path with bad advice and then we regret it and then we're fed up and then obviously we are likely to then shut down completely and not take any advice. So it can be a very disempowering way to be when you don't know how to discern. You don't know how to manage the advice that you're being given so that you can accept the good stuff and politely keep the stuff that's not good for you away from the decisions you make,
So, because we're going to focus more on when you're receiving the advice, and how to know what the content is like, if it's good content or if it's the opposite. Or if, sometimes people don't say it very well, but what they're saying is probably maybe good, but that just doesn't come across very well. So how do you not take offense to it and still hear, maybe a gem in there?
Yeah. Well, Rachel, it's interesting because I do get glimpses of clients who, some of them will be giving me a summary of this person said this and that person said that. And I'm realizing that they're bombarded from all areas with advice, and it's affecting them. And it's affecting how they feel about themselves, and they're starting to feel pressured to make decisions. And then other people, they tell me about all this advice I've been given, and some of it has been really good, but they haven't really done anything about it. And they haven't shown that they could evaluate that advice. And so they come to me, and then I'm now entrusted to somehow help them get clear on the way forward. But it's funny, they actually did hear a lot of the good advice before they got to me. So isn't that interesting that this happens to us a lot? So over time, I was able to start to see how we can separate what makes good advice, what makes bad advice, and also how it's being delivered. Because the delivery often can really be helpful or very destructive. Do you know, delivery of advice can be disrespectful. It can be almost like someone's panicking, like they have to save you, and they're forcing their views on you. And that doesn't work very well, does it?
It does become defensive sometimes then, don't you?
Yeah, but you know what the problem is with that as well, is if someone's feeling very vulnerable and scared, then they're likely to take on that advice because you're being so clear and you've got the conviction and you're desperate and you're almost inciting fear in them that they need to follow your advice, so that you're being controlled simply because of their delivery is so powerful and forceful.
So you're saying we sort of hear emotion rather than what they're like the words that they're saying. We read more by the feeling of it than what's actually being said.
I think you're right in the sense that first we're impacted by the energy, the emotion, the tone, the body language. Then the content is there to receive, but before we've received the content, we're being impacted by its delivery. Would you agree with that from your own experiences? I know for me, it's definitely that. Okay, so why don't we go through, maybe structure this and explore that whole world of advice and see what we can come up with through the other side, yeah?
Yes, yep, sounds great.
All right, let's start with good content, good delivery. In other words, some great advice, and the way they're delivering it is very respectful and considerate of you, yeah? Now, that's the easiest to receive, isn't it?
Mm.
However,
do you want to give an example? Oh, I was going to say, because it might, because you're often so good whenever you've spoken to me and you stepped in and helped me construct how it, it would be effectively delivered.
Yeah.
Because you do it so well.
Oh,
so pretend you're giving me advice about...
What? Give me a topic.
A topic. I knew you were going to say that.
You want me to be specific and then you won't even give me something tangible? Come on, give me a bone.
So let's run with the example of one person, there's a family event and, one person wants to go and the partner of the person has last minute pulled out and decided they don't really want to go anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I remember giving you this advice, yeah?
Yeah.
And I think that what I did was I was so genuinely interested in your experience of that and your values that when I was giving you that advice, I was more interested in your experience and what was going on for you and how you evaluated it and did it fit with you. You see, that way, if I'm giving you advice, it's built with what's important to you as the foundation rather than me enforcing my own values onto you. So I recall I was saying to you, how important is your family gatherings? And you really, really connected with me around how memories are made on those special occasions. And that for you, you look back on your family and why you love your family so much. And it's the cherished memories that really reinforce the beauty of that family were at those gatherings. And then once I understood, you said, I guess to give good advice, you need to understand exactly what is going on for that person, right? Not, I half hear something that I can relate to something that I have experienced, so now I'm going to throw it at you as if that's the case. I do that sometimes accidentally when I'm a bit overzealous, but generally I'm not in the habit, thankfully, of doing that, you know? Anyway, once you made it very clear to me that the person didn't have reasons why they didn't want to go, was eager to shut it down, and it made me realize that my advice to you was to invite that person to go deeper into what's going on for them, so that if their reasons are understood, then you would be better positioned to understand and move that person out of blocking those great gatherings in future. I knew that you didn't mind if he didn't go to that specific one, as long as there was meaningful reasons. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So then once I understood that the problem here was you not understanding why, because if you didn't and he just did it whenever he wanted, and that was going to be the future of your partnership, where all the future memories with your family were going to be cut down just because he's not in the mood to share those memories with you, then you deserve to be informed now of that and to make good decisions for yourself based on how important it is that you're with a partner that can do that. Now, that advice, where did that come from? It came really from what was important to you rather than what I think is important for you. Would you say that that was the difference between good advice versus me just pushing my own values onto you?
Yeah, that's right. Because, you understood what was important to me, of course, yeah. So if someone's going to give advice, they would need to know to them what's really important, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. So my point of someone giving good content, good quality advice in a really respectful way where they've gone to the trouble of delivering it so that not is it only respectful, but it's allowing of you to challenge it and make your own decisions and not be judged by that person. That's good content, good delivery, yeah? Now, just because someone gives good content, good delivery, doesn't mean it's received.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the word tragedy popped into my mind. Because when we are too insecure and we're too on edge and rebellious, and that we won't even allow ourselves to listen to good content that's delivered in such a beautiful way, then we're not really becoming the person that deserves quality friends and good company. Unfortunately, that does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everyone can relate to when they've had sincere intentions towards a friend and can see something very clearly is going on that's not good for them, and they've watched that person shut them down and overreact, and it's not good, and it really doesn't make you want to be around them if you're giving them the best of you and you're getting such a vicious reaction that's undeserved. What about when bad content is being delivered in a good way? That's a tricky one, isn't it? Someone's being all sincere and respectful, but their advice sucks. Now, for the person who's feeling too vulnerable, because they so appreciate that person being caring and respectful, they may not discern and take the time to critically assess whether that advice is very relevant to them. So probably very important that no matter what anybody says to you, no matter how sweet and kind and respectful it is that's been delivered, you need to ask more questions. You need to better understand where that advice is coming from and whether it truly is relevant to you and your situation. All right, so we've covered so far good content, good delivery, and bad content, good delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what about good content, bad delivery?
Yes.
Now, this is a bit of a shame for us because when someone is delivering in such a disrespectful, pressuring way, we get our guard up And now we're more interested in blocking them than actually listening to what they're sharing. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the responsibility of the person sharing the information, they really need to realize that they're not doing themselves any service delivering advice in that way. So they have a problem with people being open to them because of that. That's a natural consequence. However, for you, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So if they're delivering you solid advice, but they're disrespectful and they're trying to force it on you, that's your opportunity to address the delivery while suspending what the content is so you can go back to it with them as long as you address the delivery. So how would you do that? Well, maybe it's something like, you may be sharing some great advice right now, but the way you're sharing it is making me want to shut down. It's because you seem like you're desperately needing me to listen and share, and rather than feel calmer and respectful, that's going to open me up. Don't you want to be open to your advice? Well, why don't you just share it with me as if I am going to listen to you and I am going to take what you're sharing seriously and it may be of value. I prefer that. Then I'm going to be more open. Now, I think that that's going to help someone chill out, right? And deliver better. Then you can go to the content and start to understand it, and there you'll find that it's good.
Yeah.
You know? Okay. That leaves us with the final part of this, yeah? Which is bad content.
Bad delivery.
Yay, sign me up. I can't wait to receive that. Okay, but that's interesting, you know? How could anything good come from bad content, bad delivery? When someone is disrespecting you and they're giving you crap advice. Yay, how awesome. So what do we do with that? Well, let's explore it, because I believe there is incredible good and a wonderful opportunity that's waiting behind in that experience. So imagine someone's giving you that bad content in a bad way. Now, what's the first thing you want to do? Address the delivery again, because you don't know for sure whether the content's bad yet, but you may have a hunch. You may be clear that this person obviously doesn't understand more of what's going on, so they've just gone in half-assed.
Now, would you suggest, because often I think if someone comes in and they're going in for a bad delivery, and it's usually sort of more of an aggressive nature, it's very natural to get you back up and perhaps
shut down and
maybe be aggressive back, which probably isn't going to help. So would you say it's important to somehow step back for a second and before you engage?
Yeah, easier said than done.
Of course, yeah.
Much more rewarding done than said. It takes inner strength, patience, a sense of inner security to be able to stay calm in the chaos of feeling rejected or judged. These people were delivering bad content in a bad way, giving you every invitation to want to feel devalued, disrespected, right? Almost as if you deserve to be treated that way. And if you're feeling vulnerable and insecure, unfortunately, you're going to feel down and your buttons are going to be pushed. You see, that's not their responsibility that you're allowing your buttons to be pushed. Nobody makes you feel anything emotionally or mentally. You're choosing to put meaning about you're choosing what it means to you, what they're saying. Yeah? So although that's a subtle, very powerful distinction between what's going on, the brain is so fast to associate that obviously means you're being attacked, that, we often miss that wonderful opportunity to pause and go, hang on a minute. How about I just keep the problem with them for a minute and let me just discern what's going on by gathering more data, more information, right? So the first thing you do is you want to understand why they're delivering it in a bad way. So you throw the problem back onto them and you say, why are you talking to me like that? You may have something good to say to me, but why are you talking to me like that? I'll tell you what, if you want me to listen to you properly in your advice, because I know you care, I think the validation thing is good. I know you care, and I know that what you are sharing, you genuinely believe is relevant to me. And I'm willing to entertain what it is, understand it with you. But before I go there, please don't talk to me this way. So once again, like the bad delivery of the first example, we've done that again, and we've just kind of like depressurized the situation, and hopefully they've changed their delivery and now it's respectful. But if they don't, depending on how bad it is, then don't rush to the content. You could, trust me, good content will come to you in enough avenues without you needing to just put up with bad delivery to get it. However, what you want to do is you want to maximize all good content coming to you. So if you can inspire better delivery, then that means you've got more channels opened up for good content, right? So, yep. So say they continue with bad delivery. Then you say, oh, no, I'm sorry. Here's a boundary. I have a boundary. I regretfully will not listen to what you have to say until you decide you're going to share it respectfully. Now, that's important because if you're going to have a good, healthy relationship, friendship with anyone, abuse is cut out of the equation. Because apparently you're a cool person, worthy and deserving of people respecting you, right? The last time I checked, it was the case. Every time I check, it's the case. Now, say they've calmed down and now they're delivering with you in a much more calmer way. Now you get to ask them lots of questions around their content, why they're saying what they're saying. And it's very easy to let the truth bubble to the surface because you'll notice what they don't know about your situation. You get to start sharing elements of that to help them be more informed. And then you say to them, so with this in mind and this in mind, where are you at with this advice? And then they'll start to correct it if they feel like you're calm, it's not a tit for tat, you're wrong, I'm right. It's you two being a team trying to understand best way forward in your situation. But you also saying to them, I think you're missing information, which is why you're probably having this advice. But let me share with you more information, let me know what difference it makes. And as you keep sharing it, you're going to notice for most reasonable people, they're going to go, oh, no, well, you know what? No, I think you're on the right track, or I think I would have this advice instead of this if that's the case. Now, you're now getting either reinforcement of what you thought was the way, or you're getting better ideas because the person's more informed that maybe you never thought of. But either way, it's drawn you closer together. Because now the person who had bad advice and bad delivery, what have they experienced? They've experienced someone who is a leader, who has the ability to inspire people to change their attitude around them. And they have the ability to even value you, even if you got bad advice, and then bring it out of you or inform you and still be grateful for who you are. Now, see the opportunity? You know, like for business clients, right? I remember saying to them, your best clients aren't the ones that are good and that you take them to a better place so they go from good to great. Your best clients are the ones where things go wrong with you. Either you made mistakes or they thought you made mistakes and they're angry with you. And the way you handle it and you super serve them, they go from bad to great. And the journey from bad to great is so exhilarating. It deepens your connection with people and it creates reverence, awe in the experiences.
They see how you handle things when they're not in a good way.
Yeah, firstly, it's like, wow, I gave you every reason to not like me, to shut me down, to push me away and reject me. And you behaved in the most sincere, understanding manner where you never lost sight of my value. You kept my mood and my bad habits in check and you stayed in touch with my good nature, I feel so safe around you. Wow, you're rare. The level of trust and respect that that person would feel because of that is truly special, right? Now, what happens is from bad to extraordinary great, yeah? And so can you imagine the chemistry of that person in their body, what they're feeling? It's like they're shocked. They're in awe. And now they're raving about you. They're raving about you because you're rare and because they feel so safe that even when they're in a bad mood, you've got their back. Now what you'll find, which is beautiful to witness, is that now whenever they see you, you inspire a good mood out of them, even if they had a bad day, because you're one of the guys or gals that just is awesome in their life. You see the opportunity in bad delivery, bad content. Interesting, huh?
It is.
We all want good content, good delivery, but the bad content, bad delivery, there's magic in the way we choose to be through that. Because worst case scenario, you stop seeing that person if they insist that that's how they're always going to be with you, give you bad advice in a disrespectful, forceful way. Well, life is too beautiful and abundant for you to have your life force sucked dry with those sorts of attitudes, right? So it's easy to have a boundary for that. But most people don't want to be that way. They don't really want to be that way. And as I role played the way to engage them, you're going to move people out of that way of being, because no one wants to really be. It's not fun. You lose friends. You get isolated, lonely. You get very cynical, being that way. So there's a lot of people that don't want to be that way anymore. So you'll find that you'll inspire most of them to meet you in a better place. So there you go. So what are we calling this podcast?
Advice at the mercy of the receiver.
All right, cool.
Well, thanks, George.
Thank you, Rachel.
Covered a lot of areas there with advice. And
so are you looking forward to getting bad advice in a bad way now, Rach?
Yeah, for me, I just think it's one step at a time. The first step is going to be, when it happens, is that pause before reacting.
Yeah.
And, not letting it grab you. Just even practicing that and then working on, from there.
And maybe going back to the podcast, go, let me hear this good, bad advice, good, bad, bad, good, whatever it was.
Just in a second, I've got to listen to something first and then get back to them.
Yes. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure sharing. This topic is dear to my heart because I've seen it transform so many people and improve so many relationships. So, guys, I hope you look forward to bad advice and bad content so that you can weave your magic and see how powerful you truly are.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember to jump on our Facebook page, EP7 Official. We'd love to hear from you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on another EP7 podcast. If you liked what you heard, remember to share and subscribe so you're notified of every podcast released. If you have any questions or would like to connect with us, please jump on the EP7 Official Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you.